Hey, Snow.
Hey, MJ.
Hey, we're doing this a bit unconventional this week. Because I went and fucked things up because I'm going to the Patriots game on Sunday, so threw off our recording schedule.
Well, you gotta go see your team.
Yeah, especially this might be the last time because, the Supreme Leader, who we're not going to criticize, I mean, the people voted him in, said, hey, reducing the price of groceries might be hard. So who knows if we'll be able to afford shit, another year from now, so, hey,
So
got a
you
little
won't be able
more,
to afford football games
yeah,
anymore.
well, maybe,
Yeah.
who knows?
Right? Right? Well, yeah, if we're paying more for other things, might have to do some cutbacks.
Yeah, so football games will definitely be out, so who knows? But hey, eh, meh, who knew? Who knew the president didn't control the prices of fucking groceries? Meh. I mean, shit, I think that we said that, but who are we?
Right. I think a lot of people have said that before. They've also said that about, the most popular one to probably say that about is that the president does not control the price of gas.
Right.
Yeah. That's been being said for years, but apparently people still don't know.
Yeah. So, I don't know, but I think you and I have both resigned ourselves to the fact, like, hey, this is what the people wanted. This is what the people, voted for. So, hey, so be it. And all you can do is sit back and enjoy the ride, right?
Yeah, grab the popcorn.
Yeah, grab the popcorn. We'll see what happens. So, on that note, that leads me to, last week we did, coming off our tremendous success of the 5th Annual Turkey Awards, which we did really good numbers on that one. Top 50% of the Buzzsprout podcast for the year. I mean, hey, we're doing all right. We're doing okay. We thought we had a small audience, but we do okay. We have a small audience, but they're dedicated. They listen. Thank you for listening. And hey,
thank you.
Yeah, so we're doing all right. So in the meantime, both of us were down last week with colds. So we didn't do
bronchitis.
Yeah, we didn't do an episode last week. So what I did was I took my time, as we all should, as responsible Americans, and write your Congress people about your concerns, right? That's what they tell you to do. If you have a concern, write your Congress people, right?
Yep, write or call them. You can call them too.
Right, okay. So I wrote our esteemed congressman in our district, Paul Gosar. And I wanted to talk to him about the immigration issue because, I mean, we're going to be deporting a lot of people, it seems like. So I wanted to...
And also, wouldn't he want to talk about it too? You would think so.
Yeah.
Because that's a hot topic for that side too.
Yeah, because now that you have the presidency, you have the House of Representatives, you have the Senate, it's time...
all three branches.
You have all three branches. It's time to get stuff done, right? Yeah. I mean, we're not going to teach civics in this podcast and how this all works. But yeah, there's three branches of government. And for a bill to pass...
Well, yeah, and they already have the Supreme Court, too. I mean, because the Supreme Court's a branch, too.
Yeah, so if there was any challenges to this, it would go to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court most likely would pass it because it's a conservative Supreme Court. Okay, so I wrote Paul Gosar, and what we'll do is we'll do a little call and response. I'm going to read what I wrote, Mr. Gosar, and then you can read the response, okay? Can you do a Paul Gosar impression?
I'm not sure what he sounds like, but I will try my best.
Okay. Nah, don't. You're coming off a cold. Don't strain your voice.
Okay.
Okay? All right. So, this is what I wrote our esteemed Congressman Paul Gosar. Okay? Okay. We won Kwesi Smith, but we got Paul Gosar. We knew it. We knew we would get Paul Gosar. But okay, here we go. So, Mr. Gosar, see, I was being polite here. Mr. Gosar, so instead of complaining about Democrats when it comes to quote unquote open borders, I am wondering when you will submit a bill that addresses true immigration reform instead of using the issue as a quote unquote boogeyman talking point every election to rile voters up. This would be the perfect time now that President-elect Trump will be in office and the House and the Senate are controlled by Republicans. It would have been a good time also after the 2016 election when it was the same. Do you believe tariffs are really a solution when anyone with half a brain knows that it would hurt consumers in your district? So I challenge you, sir, to finally come up with a bill, and I invite you on this podcast if you would like to discuss it. Best regards, not going to say my name, MJ. Okay? So.
That sounds reasonable.
I wrote it, and I thought I was being polite, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's stick to the points, okay, before you read the response. And Snow is going to read the response here. Okay. So I start off. So instead of blaming Democrats when it comes to open borders, okay, that's my main point. Okay. Now, would you care to read the response?
Yes.
Okay.
I would love to.
Yeah.
Okay, here goes. Dear MJ, thank you for contacting me about immigration. I appreciate your thoughts on this issue and welcome the opportunity to respond. I am strongly opposed to open borders and amnesty for those who willfully violated our laws. I understand people are trying to come to the United States for a better life, but as an elected representative, my duty is towards American citizens. I intend on fighting for policies which best help us. It's unfair to help the poor and mistreated in other countries when we have poor and mistreated citizens here in the United States. Letting in too many non-Americans too fast will disrupt the social and economic fabric of our country. Even Senator Bernie Sanders,
yay,
before he wanted to become the Democratic nominee for president, used to say open borders is a Koch brothers proposal. Big corporate investments like Koch Industries push for open borders because they want to exploit cheap labor from desperate foreign laborers. Rather than pay a desperate American who knows they deserve and can negotiate higher wages and benefits. Another troubling result of open borders is people will not assimilate. Certain American traditions and expectations, such as our freedom of speech, right to keep and bear arms, speaking English, expectations of low corruption in our public officials, the Christian moral tradition, and countless others will be undermined by people who come from places who do not understand or outright oppose those traditions. It takes time for families to assimilate into American culture, making our melting pot work. Without assimilation, we exacerbate racial, cultural, and religious divisions. Biden's failed open border policies created the border invasion. Joe Biden took more than 94 executive actions on immigration, including halting construction of the border wall and ending the successful Remain in Mexico policy. His FY 2025 budget proposal calls for eliminating $50 million in border wall funding. Want more proof? Illegal aliens have confirmed this. The border is open. Everybody believes that the border is open. It's open because we enter. We come in free. No problem. We came illegally. In total, open border policies cost taxpayers $451 billion each year. I believe the Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security, Alejandro Mayorkas, failed to enforce the law and is worthy of impeachment. In fact, I am proud to be included in the majority of House members that voted to impeach Mayorkas in February of 2024. Immigration is a top issue for me. The border, of course, is a big concern, but that is only part of the larger, bigger discussion, big picture discussion. I'm in favor of deporting people who break the law, and anyone who crosses our border unlawfully broke American laws. If you want a firm idea of that legislation I've supported on changes to our border security, you can review H.R. 2, of which I voted in favor, but Senator Schumer and Joe Biden refused to support. Of course, I support President Trump's wall proposal, as well as other infrastructure to prevent illegal crossings and trafficking. Furthermore, we must ensure that no American taxpayer dollars are used to support any non-governmental organizations and international organizations that encourage the crisis at the border. We need border security. And the despicable thing is, Secretary Mayorkas is asking for more money to be spent on unneeded work projects, like fighting climate change, rather than protecting the victims of human trafficking propagated by the cartels or killing of our kids through smuggling of fentanyl. Again, I appreciate your thoughts and concerns. It is a pleasure and honor to serve Arizona as part of its congressional delegation, to receive the latest legislative updates and news. You can sign up for my e-newsletter by visiting my website at www.gosar.house.gov.
Good. Signed sincerely,
Okay.
Paul Gosar. All right, so let's unpack this a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And let's just go back to the fact said, instead of blaming Democrats, what does he do?
Blame Democrats.
Right.
Right.
And wasn't the question, don't get me wrong, because I don't know if my English is that good when I'm writing. I don't know if I got to my point, but wasn't my point, what are you going to do?
Yeah, why didn't he reply with something like, we've got a new border bill proposal that we're planning on rolling out? Since we didn't want to pass the other one.
Because it was a bipartisan bill in the Senate that just didn't pass because Trump killed it. I mean, these are facts, okay? These are facts.
Yeah. He told them all not to vote for it until he got into power. So
right. So he could use it as a issue to win the presidency.
Well, they've always used the border as an issue.
Right.
Like questions I have about this letter too is like when he's talking about the construction of the border wall, is he talking about the parts where, okay, because we all know that Snow here went on a border tour, right? So I don't know if he means because he's a representative of Arizona, so it's like, I want to be like, sir, have you visited the border yourself? And if so, are you talking about fixing the parts that have the gaps that are naked to, I guess, person's eyes, like, unless they go, like, maybe off the beaten path.
Yeah.
But, I mean, from everything I saw, all you see when you, like, drive along the southern part of the state is that border wall. If you look to your, if you're heading eastbound, you're looking to your right, because that's where, I started west. Heading eastbound, looking to your right, that's all you see is that big, giant border wall.
Right. And there's not like an abundant, it's not like there's not like an abundance of border patrol because you got pulled over 3 times in 24 hours.
Yeah, well, I got pulled over once, but I got searched twice, 2 other times. Pulled over and searched once.
Okay.
But, yeah, searched twice at the actual, going from both countries. Okay. From Mexico and the U.S.
Do you think he actually wrote this, or do you think it was like some form letter one of his interns had to do? And be like, here, let me just throw Bernie Sanders' name into it because he said he assumed I was a Democrat, which he assumed right, but...
Well, I mean, I'm sure somebody had to do the typing up of it, but, I mean, it kind of sounds like shit he would say, doesn't it?
Well... Yeah, but I get his newsletter, so yeah, Mr. Gosar, I'm going to send this to you. I already get your newsletter, and you don't seem as polite as the wording of this letter. I'll just leave it at that.
I mean, what I wanted to ask, too, what I would love to ask him, the part where he put, it goes against, laborers here that want to fight for better wages and whatnot.
Yeah.
So then, Mr. Gosar, could we get you on board for you being a supporter of better wages for workers?
Right. I mean, because that's the way it sounded. It sounded like a kind of a pro-union kind of when he was talking about that. I'm kind of surprised that he name dropped the Koch brothers, though.
I know. Haven't they donated to him?
I'm sure they did.
I thought they donate to him. I thought he's one of them that they give money to.
Yeah. I mean, because like it says, Koch Industries push for open borders, which I don't think they do.
Well, I think that is actually true. I think that's actually a true statement he said, because the Koch brothers, they like to follow the libertarian playbook. So they don't believe that. Well, actually, there's only one of them now. One of them died.
Yeah, one of them died, yeah.
The one that's left, he still has the belief that they don't believe in a minimum wage. Yeah. They don't want a minimum wage. Because they're the ones that, own, corporations.
Yeah.
They want to be able to get away with paying people.
And to be fair, we want to be fair on this. He does mention Koch Industries, not Koch brothers, on it.
Right, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because they'd rather pay a desperate American who knows what they could deserve. Yeah, so that sounds like a pro-union kind of thing there. I think the next part... we get to people won't assimilate to us. Now, I didn't know.
They won't. And he makes the point to say they won't. They won't carry on with certain American traditions, like our freedom of speech and our right to bear arms. They might want to bear arms too. What is he talking about? How does he know that they don't like guns as well?
Yeah, I mean, because there's plenty of our guns that go into Mexico. I mean, that's a fact.
Yeah, they come over here to get the guns. So if they came over and then take them back to Mexico, because you can't, I mean, if you go down near the border too, there's all these signs up that say, it is illegal to bring weapons and guns and stuff into the country of Mexico.
Right.
Like they warn you before
Right.
you're driving up to even get close to the border.
Because Mexico doesn't produce guns. They get the guns from us.
Mm-hmm. To use for the cartels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So if people are coming here, though, like, how does he know that maybe they're not coming here for the guns? You know, they're like, hey, I want to live in America now and be like Rambo, like I see on TV, true American, you know?
Yeah, because it's very easy to get a gun here.
Well, I want the Rambo lifestyle, too.
Yeah. Did you see the last Rambo where he lived in Mexico and he was killing all the cartel? Anyway.
No, but isn't that that's great? No, I didn't even see it. I just figured like Rambo's got all those cool machine guns and stuff, right? So he's ready to go.
Yeah.
Ready to party.
Okay. Now at this point, I didn't realize speaking English was the rule of the land. Like we had to do that. I mean,
the United States, anyone can look this up. The United States does not have an official language.
Wait, that's not in the Constitution?
No, there's no actual. There are countries that do have official languages. Don't get me wrong.
But isn't Paul?
We are not one of those countries.
Isn't Mr. Gosar supposed to be a constitutionalist?
Well, is he? I thought, or does he just? I know he's a dentist, but does he actually label himself as a constitutionalist too?
I don't know.
Maybe.
But you know that commercial, 4 out of 5 dentists recommend chewing this gum?
Yeah.
Or 4 out of 5 dentists recommend this toothpaste?
Yes.
How come we don't talk about 4 out of 5 Gosars don't recommend him for office?
Oh, right. Right. His family?
Yeah. I'm sorry, Mr. Gosar. We saw the reports. Okay. Don't block us.
That's also you can go look all that stuff up too.
Yeah.
About his family and whatnot.
Okay. And here's another point. The Christian moral tradition. The Christian moral tradition. Now, I also didn't realize that we were a Christian country. I thought we had separation of church and state.
And is that why he mentions goes against our, like, when he first goes against our American values, like freedom of speech and the right to bear arms? It's like, with the freedom of speech, there is also freedom of religion. Like, that is not the whole thing of the First Amendment, sir.
No, I didn't. I also didn't realize that immigrants were leading the woke charge against freedom of speech either.
Right?
I'm sorry, Mr. Gosar. That's why we want to invite you on the podcast to explain yourself, what you meant, or your intern, whoever wrote this. Okay.
Right, and aren't most of the immigrants that he claims come here, right, from Mexico?
Yeah.
The majority of Mexicans are Catholic, which is under Christianity.
You would think.
I mean, it's a sect of Christianity. Yes. They believe that Jesus is the Lord and Savior, just as average Christians do.
But what about the Jews and the Hindus and, everything else? I don't know. Everything that isn't what makes America great, and we're trying to make it great again, is isn't that because we're a melting pot and you have the freedom of religion and you have the freedom to escape oppression and come here and assimilate into our country with multicultural and religious backgrounds, and we all come together to make this country great? I thought that was what it's about.
Well, I did too, but I think that some of the folks that you might be speaking of are like, they feel like they're the ones oppressed in their own country.
Right, because
Like,
quote
'cause
unquote,
they can't,
Whitey's oppressed.
because they like can't do whatever they've always done or what they want to do. I don't know.
Now, I mean, that is, to that point, it's sort of true. We are becoming more ethnically balanced in this country,
Right?
where it's not, the white doesn't have the supermajority anymore. And Latino people, as we learned from this last election, are making up more of the population. But if you look at Latino men, they voted for Trump. So I don't know. I just don't understand.
I know. Like, doesn't that show people like Gosar that, they're here for the American dream too? Like, that they're Americans also?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't understand.
Which isn't that also like doesn't that show, like, let's take, for example, Latino men and that voted for Trump. Doesn't that more go to show like how it seems like the election went was, hey, I got mine, fuck everyone else. Hey, I'm here, I got a job, I'm voting for Trump because I don't want someone coming over to take my job.
Oh, they're like, I got what I wanted, now close the door.
Yeah, it's the same thing back like in 2016, why Bernie didn't get elected, and they would call Bernie a socialist, even though he had good ideas, especially about medical and health insurance and everything else, and we're learning that lesson. This is a subject for another podcast about what happened over the last couple of weeks when it comes to the health insurance industry. But I had friends that would call Bernie a socialist while their wife was in cancer treatment and they had government assisted health care. Hey,
they were literally using socialism while labeling other people as socialists.
Right. My point being is, I got mine, but no, I don't want other people to have what I'm benefiting from.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's get to the, like I said, quote unquote, open borders. And he references a interview that was on Fox where illegal alien, well, he says illegal alien, and I'm going to say immigrant, said this. The border is open. Everyone believes the border is open. It's open because we enter. We come in free, no problem. We come in illegally. Now,
where is that actually from, though?
It was from a Fox News interview where they talked to someone coming over the border.
Okay. That explains.
So my point on that is, Mr. Gosar, you are saying the borders are open. Now, they're technically not. Now, are people coming here? Yes. Are they coming here? Do they get caught? They come over the border. They get caught. They're processed through the system, and then they're let free. Because that's the way the law is written. The laws are written. Okay?
Yeah.
You come over here, you get caught, you get set free until your court date. Okay? That's the way the laws are written. But, Mr. Gosar, if you're listening, isn't putting out the borders are wide open, which they're not, because this person was caught, they were detained, and they were set free. So does that mean the border is open? Because if the border was truly open, they could just come in, they wouldn't get caught with no consequences, and go about their business.
It's like the border is not open. The fucking gate is closed. I've seen it with my own fucking eyeballs. Yeah, you gotta, the part where it's open, you gotta go through their border agents there.
Right. And
you can't just drive through willy-nilly. They make it sound like, you can just, they make it sound like it's like the San Francisco Bridge or something. You just drive right on through over, And that's not what you do.
And if that was the case, if the borders were open, let's take you for an example. You would not have been pulled over.
Yeah, I would have never been searched 3 times. Well, twice at the border and then once by the border agents. I would have... Right. If it was wide open, they wouldn't need any border agents. Yeah. If it was wide open, because it's like, do whatever you want.
Yeah. Now, we can get into what Biden didn't do at the border, and do I think he could have done better? Yeah, I think he could have done better on that. But we can't, hey, it's all said and done. Biden's not going to be in control another 5 weeks. So let's focus in on what we can do. Now, Mr. Gosar says, immigration is a top issue for me. Okay, then Mr. Gosar, why aren't you drafting a bill to improve the issue of, like we said, you come across the border, you get detained, you get set free until your court date. That's the way the laws are written. Then if immigration, Mr. Gosar, is a top issue for you, why aren't you drafting a plan, like I asked you in my email, to come up with a bill that you could probably pass now that you have the 3rd and 4th branch of government to get the law passed? Right?
I don't understand how, especially somebody like Representative Gosar, he's extremely passionate about the border and talking about the border and how terrible the border is. How have they not drafted something up after all this time? Even if it wasn't going to go somewhere immediately, he's been in Congress for how long now?
I was going to ask you that. Do you know?
How?
As long as I can remember, he's been in office.
Yeah, me too. How long? How has he not, had something all this time, at least somewhat in the works? I don't understand that.
Or at least like Trump with them, replacing, Obamacare, a concept of a plan. Did he even have a concept of a plan?
Right. Yeah, it's like, Representative Gosar, do you have concepts of a border plan?
Yeah. Can you answer this? Anyway, we'll wrap this up, get that. We can hear your cold is coming through. But
I'm I know my throat is so dry. I can't help it. Once it starts getting dry, it doesn't even really hurt when I cough, but it's I don't know, it starts making me cough. So yeah, it probably doesn't sound great on the cast.
Yeah. No. But hey, we're doing this, we got to put some material out here. But anyway, the point being is he didn't address what I asked him. What is your plan? And instead of blaming Democrats, that whole letter was blaming Democrats.
Yeah, it's what are you going to do? Why didn't he focus on trying to win you over by saying, I got this lined up, lined up?
Yeah. Yeah, he didn't even have to go into as much detail as he did. I mean, I appreciate him, reaching back, and he didn't have to, or his intern didn't have to. Whoever wrote this, he didn't have to respond, but he did, and I appreciate that. And it was a well written letter, for the most part. Other than I can debate him on some of the stuff that he said there. I don't know. It just seems like, hey, if you're this passionate of it, what's your plan? You're in charge now. This is your government. And what are you going to do? And he didn't even mention the tariffs thing either, which, along with grocery prices, the prices at Walmart will go up with these tariffs. Energy prices will go up. And this is what people voted for. And he didn't even acknowledge that I mentioned tariffs.
I know. That part he completely ignored.
Yeah.
Not a whisper.
Yeah, and tariffs will affect his constituents.
Oh, definitely. I mean, because the areas in which he represents are all pretty much like, kind of like working poor towns. It's not like, I mean, if you pulled up areas around here, like the median income is pretty low. I mean, a lot of people are struggling.
It's at the poverty line.
Yeah.
So, anyway, we'll wrap this one up, But again, Mr. Gosar, if you're listening, which probably not, we encourage you to come on the podcast and come up with a plan, okay? It's time to stop blaming Democrats. You're in charge now. Put on your big boy pants and come up with a plan on how to solve the broken immigration system.
Right. Don't you want to get some notoriety for like coming up with plans versus just like your anime of like trying to kill other members of Congress?
Right. And Mr. Gosar, I hope you get your pardon. I'm kidding.
That's funny.
Hey, everyone gets a pardon, right? Like, you get a pardon. I get a pardon.
Right.
All right, so we'll wrap this one up, but we'll be back soon. We'll do more episodes. We got some other, stuff coming up that's not going to be as political, but hey, we just wanted to share that, like, we did reach out to our congressperson, and hey, we tried to be like, hey, what are you going to do? And it kind of came out as exactly what we thought it would be. Just blame Democrats.
Right? But at least you have the proof now, the confirmation that is what it is.
Yeah.
It is just more of the blame game versus like, oh, we've got some really great ideas here.
Well, hey, at least he didn't call us, fucking the woke radical left. Well, I'll have to hand it to him. He left that out of the email.
Yeah, and he didn't use the word libtard.
Yeah, so give him a little bit of credit.
Yeah, he toned it down a little.
Yeah, and maybe if Mr. Gosar comes up with an immigration plan that's sensible, it makes sense, that's not going to hurt the Americans, and it's not going to hurt farmers and agriculture and everything else that we depend on immigrants for, maybe the 4 out of 5 Gosars who don't approve will approve. All right, Snow. Well, I hope you feel better.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, and I'll give you a report. I
am getting better, though.
Yeah, I'll give you a report from the Patriots game, even though both of our teams suck this year.
I know. Sad.
But we're still
next year.
We're still neck and neck in, our football pool.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I have found, I don't know about you, but I have found that cutting out watching the news, even though we're still well informed. I think I still look at news. I'm informed, but just cutting out watching CNN or watching Fox or watching MSNBC is just so much healthier.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm taking a break. I'm just, I'm enjoying things until, January rolls around, January 20th rolls around and whatnot. And then it's like, time to grab the popcorn and let's see
how great this is.
The fan, right?
I just can't wait for the posts from, the ones that support Trump. Say, well, you do know the president doesn't, control gas prices and grocery prices. I just can't wait for those posts. And then to go back into their fucking feeds to watch them bitch about Biden. I don't think they're going to be out there with those little stickers on the gas pump with Donald Trump going, oh, I did that. I don't think that's going to happen.
Right.
So.
Well, you could just with some of your friends that post that and say, oh, that has nothing to do with it. Just since you said you can go back and find their old posts, well, at this point in time, you did say that actually. So you've changed your stance?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, well, like you said, just grab the popcorn. We're just along for the ride.
Only time will tell, my friend.
Yeah. All right. So we'll be back soon and, give you more content to keep us up in the top 50% of the Buzzsprout podcast. 25 countries last year. All right, then. Not bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not bad at all.
All right, so get some rest, and we'll talk to you soon.
Okay, bye, y'all.
Bye.